Little bit of AEW, not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Rock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and finally we had a wrestling match. Finally we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are like the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. Greetings, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Either one. Welcome back to WrestleChat here on the Nation Network. Vince McSham, your host, and already got people coming in the door. Glad to see you guys. Prime Time's in the house. Andrew Roberts is here. Miracle is here as well. Icon, how are you? Glad to see everybody going early on. I wasn't sure if this early was going to get too many people live, but glad to see y'all here. We're going to talk some WrestleMania. We're going to go back over the last 2 streams and see how we did between my picks and 2K's picks. Going to be interesting. And we can recap the general feel we have for the 2 days of the WrestleMania that was WrestleMania 42. I'll say this. It came in with very low expectations and kind of delivered on those with a few exceptions. So it wasn't a complete wash. There were some moments. There was one in particular, and we'll get to that they got me. They got me. Even though I was telling myself, no. But they still got me, which is good. It's hard to do that nowadays. damn near impossible to do that to me nowadays. But you guys out in the chat, we're going to put something up here on the board real quick so I can find out what y'all are thinking. Start a poll. Okay. All right, there is the poll. I'm going to leave that up probably for the duration, but just want to know overall, did you enjoy WrestleMania this year? For those of you that watched it. If you didn't watch it, just put that in the chat. Let me know you didn't watch it and what reasons you may have had for that. Could be because of the ESPN deal and didn't have the package, or just don't care about the product. Yes, there were a few surprises. Well, I don't know. Were they surprises, really? Or just, well, we'll get to it. Starting things off, let's go down the list. These are not necessarily in the proper chronological order, but they are day 1 and 2. They're accurate. So, based on the stream we did, the first match on night 1 was the Vision going up against LA Knight and the Usos in the 6-man tag match. I said that LA Knight's team would go over, and so did 2K. And guess what? Both of us were correct. We got that one right. Not laughing. We're not laughing. We're applauding. We got it right. Congratulations on both ends. Then I moved on to the AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch Intercontinental title match. Not sure what I was smoking, but I got that one wrong somehow. I really thought AJ Lee was going to go over. And 2K got it right. 2K picked Becky Lynch. So good for 2K, I guess. I'm never going to cheer for 2K. Bunch of fuckers. Then we moved on to Gunther going up against Seth Rollins. I got that one right. And 2K got that one wrong. I really figured that Gunther was going to have to stay strong because, as we all knew, he was going to move on to SummerSlam and retire Brock Lesnar, and it wouldn't work the same if he wasn't winning Mania. More to come on that. Then we go to the 4-way women's tag team match. That was every bit the clusterfuck I thought it would be. Very sloppy. My least enjoyed match on the show. This one, I'm giving both myself and 2K the point for getting it right because I rebooked the match. We kept the same 3 teams that did compete, but the 4th team, I made my little adjustment there, and I took the Bellas out of the situation altogether, and I instead put in the Kabuki Warriors. The Kabuki Warriors on 2K won, which was the sub team, and then in real life, the substitute team won. So for that reason, and I think I picked the Kabuki Warriors. So for that reason alone, we each going to share that point. And I still say that's the way it should have worked out, but hey, what do I know? Then we go on to Drew going up against Jacob in an unsanctioned match. I had predicted that Jacob was going to go, even though I didn't really want to see it that way, but I knew it would. And then 2K got that one wrong as well. Womp, womp, womp. Don't have a sound effect for that. Got to do it myself. Then we go to the Intercontinental Championship match between Liv Morgan and Vakir. And I've got that one right, and 2K got that one wrong. Dude, that's not good. Then we move on to the main event of night 1, Cody going up against Orton. We both got it right, but I got 2 points. Not 1, I got 2 points. Now you might say, well, how did that happen? Well, let's go look at the stream. Now my prediction for tonight is Cody retains the title, and Pat McAfee inadvertently costs Randy Orton the title. And then Randy gives us the WrestleMania moment we really want and RKO's Pat McAfee after the match. All right, wasn't after the match, but everything was accurate. So I got a bonus point for that, man. I really called that one right away. And I didn't see any other way for it to happen. I just didn't. I feel like they booked themselves into the corner there. So On night one, I did pretty good for myself. I'm happy with that. Now we move on to night number 2. We've got Trick Williams going up against Sami Zayn. Again, these are the order I streamed them in, not the order they actually took place in. And both myself and 2K got that one right. We move on to the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. I was going to say, I got that one wrong. Yeah, well, there's 6 people in the match, so I guess that could easily happen. So we both got that wrong. And the funny thing is, we, meaning 2K and myself, both picked Javon Evans to win. And most people picked Javon Evans to win. The only person who really didn't pick Javon Evans to win is Triple H. So at the end of the day, we both take the L on that one. Then we got the women's world title as Rhea goes up against Jade. I had predicted Rhea was going to take some time off. I was wrong. And 2K got it right by saying Rhea gets the win. Moving on to the big one that turned out to be a street fight. I had changed it to an Inferno match. Both of us realized that a regular one-on-one match just wasn't right for this one. You had to have something extra added to it. So, again, I look at that as a plus that I was ahead of the curve on that one. I didn't give myself an extra point for it, but I just like the fact that I feel like maybe telepathically I'm getting through a little bit to somebody over there. I don't know. Anyway, both myself and 2K picked the Demon for the win, and of course that's the way that went down, so we get the points. Obafemi against Brock Lesnar. What a damn match. That was one hell of a match. We're going to go into these a little more detail on night 2 because we haven't really done that yet, but right now I'm just going over the stats here. And both of us, 2K and myself, both got the correct answer on that by picking Obafemi. I was a little surprised 2K got it right, but they did. And then moving on to the big one, the main event of the evening, CM Punk going up against Roman Reigns. It's a split. I had picked Punk to retain, thinking Roman was off to Hollywood. And then after the night was over, Roman came out and said, y'all are going to get sick of seeing me. I ain't going nowhere through the summer, which says he's going to lose it at SummerSlam, hopefully. If you're not going to be around after that, we can't have you carrying the belt around. And hopefully, you know, he's not as young as he used to be, so hopefully he holds up over a grueling schedule. Of course, he ain't going to defend the title that often. 2K got it right, though. They picked Roman over Punk. So at the end of the day, I've acquired a 10-4 record. That's including that extra bonus point I got, which essentially is identical to 2K's picks of 9-4. So I technically got 9-4 as well if you take away the bonus. And that means we were 64.3% accurate on our picks for the 2 days combined. By the way, to my surprise, 2K and I were both right about the Oba match. 67% of you thought that Brock was going over. I was a little surprised watching this back and putting this list together. I was like, wow, that's a lot of percent. All right, let's talk about night 2. Let's talk about it. Again, they're not in chronological order, but this is the order I personally have them up here in, so that's what I'll go by. Oopsie. Little mistakes being made here. Hold on. There she goes. All right, so Trick Williams, Sami Zayn. I thought it was a good match. Again, these matches didn't get a lot of time, but it's commercial mania, guys. You got to understand, you're here for the commercials, not for the wrestling. So none of these matches really went the distance other than the Roman Punk match. Everything else is going to be like under 10 minutes. And sometimes less is more. I mean, you can give people 20 minutes to tell a story, and then they don't tell a good story, so was it worth giving them the extra time? It's just a matter of, pick your poison, the things you like, don't like. Me personally, I feel like we're in a short attention span society nowadays. You look at videos on YouTube, anything over, 3 minutes, people are clicking through them, and so maybe that's a better. And then again, if you have somebody like Jade Cargill, get her the hell out of there as quick as you can. I mean, hide the mistakes and all that by not having her out there so long that she has to show them to you. That's just the way I look at it. Anyway, Trick Williams, Sami Zayn, I thought it was a good match for what it was. I was really glad to see Trick go over. The crowd was good for it. And I'm just really over Sami at this point. The WWE's biggest thing is they need a facelift. And WrestleMania kind of started to deliver on that a little bit. You know, Javon didn't win, but man, he looked good. You got Oba going over. You got Trick going over. And they're kind of setting the table that we need fresh blood in here, and we can't keep relying on Dwayne to show up. And that didn't even happen anyway, right? So, moving on to the Intercontinental ladder match. One of the better ladder matches I've seen in a very long time. It was really good. Great spots. Everybody, hit their stuff and made it look good. I don't believe I've ever seen a Mexican Destroyer done from a ladder onto a ladder before. But I can say that I have seen it done now, and it looked good. Dangerous as hell. And when I saw what he's trying to do, I was like, oh, God, let everybody walk away in one piece. And the reality is the camera got a little too close on the action where you could see he never even touched nothing, which is good. You don't want nobody getting injured. That's what we want, is everybody to be happy and safe and sound. J-Rock's joining us here as well. Thank you, sir, for being here. But it was a great ladder match. I kind of like Penta winning and retaining, because when you put a six-man match together, when does a champion ever come away with the title? Hardly ever. And you book it that way so the champion stays strong, because you didn't have to lose the title. I think it was just, he's 21. He's got plenty of time. I know. I think the fans, if you're trying to get him to go home happy, not that they're just not happy with Penta, Penta's loved. I just think it would have been probably a good opportunity for Javon to have that big moment on the big stage. That's all. But that said, he definitely stole the spotlight. And that's saying a lot, because they all did really well with this one. Even Rusev didn't do bad, I got to say it. And I thought he was going to be the square peg in the round hole. So that all said, kudos on a great match. Rhea Ripley Jade match, thank God it was short. That's all I got to say. If Jade's going to be in a match, keep it short. Whether you're going to put her over or put her under, make sure we ain't got to sit through much of it. And I fully support her going to Hollywood and being a superhero or something like that, because she got the $1 million look. She just ain't got the in-ring presence. And in case I forget to mention it later, let me just jump ship for a minute and throw this out there. If anyone didn't see any of the Bloodsport highlights, I'm pretty sure I posted the link on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I did. I meant to if I didn't. Natty went up against Shayna Baszler at Bloodsport, and damn, wrestling the way it's meant to be. Yes, I did post it on. As a matter of fact, I did put it on Twitter. So you can find it on Twitter or just look it up on YouTube. You'll find it as well. Great match. I'm going to try and see what else from Bloodsport from the past weekend is up there as well. If you like wrestling, really good stuff. All right, let's see. Then we go on to Dom and the Demon. I thought this was going to be the Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage match. It was going to steal the weekend. It was good. It was a solid match. It wasn't the one we're going to walk away talking about. Okay, but it was good. Well done. Good to see the Demon back. I know there's been a lot of questions. Should the Demon be a more regular character? More regular, yes. Regular, no. Because then it loses that special mystique. But just seeing that, I was actually a little let down by the entrance. I thought that entrance was going to be much, and granted it's outdoors, so you can't control everything. And I knew it was going to be a later part of the program, because they needed as much darkness as they could get a hold of. But I was expecting a whole lot more smoke. And that he would, we wouldn't even see him. He'd be crawling through the smoke. You wouldn't even know he's on the stage yet. And then all of a sudden he'd just burst out of this cloud, where the hands go up and all that kind of stuff. Other than that, the paint job was amazing. One of these days, I'm sure they must have somebody that's doing the behind the scenes, because they have all the behind the scenes Mania stuff showing how that work gets done to him. I mean, it's got to be, obviously, there's artists doing it. He can't do it himself. His face he could do, I suppose, but he's not doing all that. And just wonder how long it takes. I was talking to Jay earlier, and I'm just now watching the program Heels, if you ever caught that show. And by episode 3, CM Punk comes in to play an aging veteran. And I didn't even recognize him at first because he's got almost a mullet going on. And he's got a full beard and all that kind of going on. And he's got a bit of a twang going in the character he's playing. And then when they get a close-up on him, I look, oh, fuck, that's Punk. And I'm like, why does he look so different? And I'm thinking of the hair. Then I realized the man has no tattoos. I'm like, how much money did that cost? I mean, if it's CGI, it costs a lot. And if it's paint and makeup, it's going to take some time. Well, Jay sent me the link, and yeah, they body painted that boy 3.5 hours a day. I don't know how many days of shooting he did. And they showed the stop motion, and it's like, damn, why didn't you just leave the tattoos on? I don't want to. He was playing kind of a gothic-y character, a rabid character, so I don't know why you take all the effort, but whatever. It ain't like we're not going to recognize who he is anyway. But kudos to going the distance. But in seeing that, it makes me wonder, what exactly goes into doing a demon paint job? It's got to be a lot of time, that's for sure. And by the way, thank you and welcome to anyone that's joining us on Twitch as well. Again, we are live streaming on both. Today at 5 p.m., we will be starting the Monday Night Wars up again. And the plan is on Mondays at 5 to do a Monday Night Wars. It's not going to be a running storyline kind of thing like Saturday stuff is. But it'll just give us a chance to relive either an episode of Raw or creating one for Nitro or even Thunder's possible. SmackDown possible, but from the Monday Night Wars era. And this evening we will be doing Nitro, so jump in and join us for that at 5 o'clock. Again, it'll be both here and on Twitch. Then on Tuesdays, the plan is around 5 o'clock also. We are going to be going on Twitch exclusively with a house show from the Saturday program lineup. So if you want to check out a house show, which is basically just going to be maybe at the Garden, or it could be at the Omni, depending on which brand we're talking about, or any of those other places that we've done in the past. We'll be doing one randomly on Tuesdays, 5 o'clock over on Twitch. The link is in the description box down below for Twitch. I'm trying to build that channel back up. If you haven't been following along, excuse me, there's been a lot going on with YouTubers having their accounts deleted, frozen, problems with AI being used, and I don't think I'm in any particular. Well, fun fact though, my day one WrestleMania video that we did, prediction video, when I was getting ready to put my stats together here, find out that it's been blocked, and I'm like, blocked for what? And I look it up, and it's for a commercial that I ran that I've run 100 times with no problem. The one for the old WWE Attitude Era where they're blowing up the Connecticut building and, they're all coming through talking how we're a wholesome family entertainment. In the meantime, the secretary's getting banged on the desk and stuff like that. I've run that same commercial spot I don't know how many damn times, with never an issue. And now all of a sudden I have to edit it out so the video comes back up. So YouTube's a little funky, and I just feel like one of these days I can come on and all of a sudden find my channel's gone, and I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. So you guys, I don't know how many of you actually do get involved with Twitch in any way, if you have Twitch accounts, if you stream over there, if you watch stuff that's over there. But if you have a Twitch account, look for me over there. Again, the link is down below, and let me know you're there. How are we doing on this poll, by the way?
That's what she said.
83% liked it. Well, considering the build, that's a really good score to end up with. Glad I didn't just close that down. All right. So we covered the Demon and Dom. Then we've got, I'm going to save it for last. We're going to jump to the main event. Punk against Roman Reigns. What a fucking match. If you're going to save the best for last, you better be the best when you're last. And they were the best of two nights without any question in my book whatsoever. That was a fucking match. The false finishes were so legit because I could not tell you that. I thought so many times where it's like, that's it, it's done. And then it wasn't. And it was 2 3/4 counts, and the referee's hand was almost on the mat each time. Really well done. Good spots. Physical. You felt it. And it was a good story. Punk did a good job of selling exhaustion when he took that last-minute swipe, and he came up short even on that, and Roman just looked down on him like the beaten lion cub or whatever, or the old Mustafa finally giving up. I just thought it was really well done, and I was ready for Punk to be done. Obviously, he'll still be on our screens, and he's still going to be doing everything. Roman, I had changed my pick on that. Oh, I wonder if that, hold on a minute. Oh, I stand corrected on my poll. Hold on a moment. I did better. Because I changed my pick going into WrestleMania after we streamed, and Jay can confirm this because I texted him, and I said, which brings me up to 78% accuracy. Save that one. I changed my prediction before Mania started because I was watching the pregame, if you will, hype, and there was that sit-down interview with, I guess it would have been Michael Cole and Roman Reigns, and the question was asked of Roman, why do you think CM Punk has made this about family so much? And Roman just looked back at him and said, why you think? Well, because he doesn't have one? Exactly. You know, these guys in the locker room all the time talking about how rich he is. You took 10 years out of work, man. You're doing all right, but you're not rich. And, okay, he's got money. Who's he leaving it to? And the first thought went through my mind is the fucking DNC. So I wanted him to lose, and that's what I told Jay. I said, never mind. I switched my pick. I'm going with Roman. So because I switched my pick. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. That's right. There we go. So that puts me at 78.5% accuracy for all of Mania. And then, of course, again, that match was really off the hook, though. That was a match I would watch again. Obafemi, Brock Lesnar. Not surprised it went short, okay? There was one, I think it was the basketball dude, whatever his name was. I don't do NBA, so I don't remember names like that. But he was on the panel quite a bit last night. He was in the video game last year, I guess. Was one of the NBA players. Never used him or anything, so I couldn't tell you his name. But he said that he was predicting an Oba squash. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute now. I hadn't even considered that. But we've seen it before. Yeah, we've seen Goldberg come out and just shock the world. Lesnar's willing to do what he's got to do to get other guys over if it's someone he believes in. And clearly, now watching Lesnar come to the ramp, and this is the first time I had noticed this. Again, a lot of these folks, and they are aging to a certain extent, but I'm seeing a lot of body transformations. Whether it's several women looking way too skinny, like you need to eat. And then Lesnar had this wild bow-legged thing going on, and it was almost like a SpongeBob thing where his legs were way out on the sides of his body, where like the thighs had not. I remember him being thicker all the way from head to toe, more muscle mass. And he was just starting to look older, which we're all getting older. I get that. But to be the beast and, to be that force of nature, you got to have the look as well, and that's not really happening at this point. It was a great matchup. I love the way they started out with a collar and elbow and the standoff with it, where it was literally like a mighty tug of war kind of thing, only a push and pull. And I thought they did all that great. Lesnar hit him with some stiff clotheslines, and Oba stood there and took them and just gave him the bug eye look. And it was a solid match. And then he hits him with the F5, and Oba didn't jump up, which I would have been a little upset if he'd have just did the Ultimate Warrior on the pedigree. He didn't jump up, but he got up, and Lesnar turns around and looks and sees that, and he's like, oh, shit. I was surprised Lesnar didn't kick out of that powerbomb. I thought he was going to kick out at least once. So the fact that it ended that quickly, that decisively, I was a little surprised about that. And then the other thing happened. When I started seeing him take off the gloves, I was like, whoa, 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 what the fuck? I'm completely expecting Gunther is going to come out and say, oh, is that it? You lose a match and you're going to quit like a little bitch. And then he didn't. And I'm watching the gloves come off, and the crowd is chanting, no, 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 no. And I'm like, okay, he's going to take him and put him back on. Kind of like AJ did, right? He took him off, but then he didn't quite take him off, even though he retired anyway. And I'm just like, no, this ain't happening. This ain't happening. And he lays the gloves down, and now you can start seeing the emotions start to literally creep in. And now he's taking off the boots. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But then the more I'm thinking about it, what better place, what better way, and to not advertise it. To not say, if I lose, I retire. We've had that before. We've had retirement matches. Just have the damn, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, his last match. It was just his last match. He never said shit. He just rode off into the sunset. We didn't know we were watching his last match. So I was thinking, as this is all happening, this is actually the perfect way to do it. Because everyone was anticipating SummerSlam, and Gunther was going to do it. But then, after the show was over, and that one got me. It really got me. In the history of WrestleMania, I think there have been 3 occasions that have moved me emotionally in any way, to the level of like tearing up almost. The Randy Savage match with the Warrior, where he loses his career and Elizabeth jumps in there and they reunite and all that. That whole place was losing on that. What was the other one? I'm drawing a blank on it. I thought about it last night, but now it's not coming back to me. Anyway, this moment. Because it felt real, and it reminded me of Wayne Gretzky's last game ever. And I was a huge Gretzky fan. And I'll never forget Madison Square Garden. Rangers were out of the playoff race anyway. It was just the last game. And I just felt like that's a huge part of my younger years, my hockey playing years, retiring. And every time a legend like that we've grown watching for many years steps down and walks away and says it's time, I think it's a little bit of a reflection to ourselves of mortality as well, that, you know, hey, we ain't going to do this forever. Someday this isn't going to be here for us, or we're not going to be here for it. And I guess when we try to escape by going to these entertainment things, and all of a sudden, you know, you're not, granted, hockey, we knew Gretzky was retiring. There was no surprise to it. It's just different when it happens, and now it's real. Okay, in this case, we didn't even know it was going to happen. And the embrace with him and Paul Heyman. Now, Heyman's an actor. He can pull shit off anytime, so that didn't surprise me and didn't sell me. Lesnar's reaction sold me. That's what made me go, this shit's happening. But it wasn't until the night was over and I was just kind of sitting back a little bit thinking about everything. Gunther's owed a favor. And if Heyman doesn't deliver on that favor, well, Gunther's going to try and get someone to come back out of retirement. I mean, it's not like he announced retirement, not like he had a contractual obligation to retire. So I can see Gunther saying, well, you know, next week, I'm going to call you back to this ring, and you better have an answer for me. And he'll come back. I talked to him, and he said no. Well, talk to him again, and then puts him in a sleeper hold and chokes him out. And while he's choking him out, yelling at Brock Lesnar back in Minnesota, I said, this is what's going to happen to all your friends if you don't come back here and you face the ring general and blah, blah, blah. So I am still sure that that's going to happen now, but in the moment, you got me. Totally got me. And like I said, nowadays, that ain't an easy thing to do. To jump back over to the chats, Walter Johnson in the house. Welcome, sir. Glad to see you. Yeah, I'm enjoying Heels, too. I'm only 3 episodes in, but I wasn't planning on watching it. I was watching this CM Punk interview, and he just brought up the fact that, oh, yeah, I was on the show Heels and all that. And I remember hearing about it, but I didn't have the pay service. And I was like, oh, shit, yeah, I never did get around to watching that show at all. And I pulled it up on my device, and there it is. And I was like, oh, let me watch an hour. It's an hour episodes, as I'll do one. And, yeah, right after the first episode, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to see what happens on episode 2. And then I have to see what happens on episode 3. And then I was like, well, I got shit to do today, so I got to step down. But loving it so far, very much so. Sadly, it's only 2 seasons, apparently. And according to Jay, they pulled the plug on it. All right, what's happening here? We got a lot of comments here. You guys are busy. I like that. I show speed. I you know, he did well. He did really well. For me, out of the social medias, I would say he was probably one of the, well, I don't know. What do we consider Jelly? Is he social media or just celebrity? I go with celebrity talent. Jelly's elbow drop through that table, and just the way he destroyed the table. I mean, it shattered into splinters. I was like, thank you. That's the way a table should break. Never does. And they were talking prior to the show starting. Michael Cole and the Spanish announcer were having a little powwow there on camera, talking about how they have to constantly get out of the way of people going through their table every night and blah, blah, blah. And Cole even said, yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've been hitting the shin by the front plate of the table shooting out. Yeah, because the design, I've been saying this for years. It's only a matter of time before that ends someone's career. If you're going to do this shit, set these tables up to collapse, not to be firing out in crazy directions all the time. But they don't do it. Miracle says night 2 was by far better, and I didn't really feel that way yesterday. But now looking back on it today and comparing the cards, comparing what events took place, yeah, I'll agree now. Night 2 was definitely better. More memorable moments, let's put it that way. Oh, and how did we forget to talk about the very good, very evil Danhausen and his appearance? Let's start from the beginning. He comes out with a bunch of midgets dressed as him, which I thought was hilarious. And the fact that Michael Cole felt it necessary when he called them midgets to clarify, and before you social media people start getting on me for calling them midgets, they asked me to. Don't worry about these idiots out here that want to be politically correct and everything and try and tell us how to speak. Midgets. That's what they've always been. Talk to them. That's what they call themselves. 90% of them. And if it's wrestling, 100%. It's not a bad word. Never was. Midget wrestling. That needs to come back. They need to do that again. You know, not every week necessarily, but once in a while, have a midget match. What the hell? When they had like Mini Vader and all the mini Bret Hart dude and all that stuff, that was funny as hell. That was entertaining. I thought that's what y'all are about. God knows they need the work. There's not that much work out there for people like that. Icon, glad you were able to catch a live one as well. They're always more fun when I got a lot of people in the chat, so I appreciate you. Andrew Roberts didn't get to watch it because he was working. Andrew, did you catch it on a replay, though, or have you watched any of it, or are you just going to settle for the highlight reel, which is probably what I would do if I didn't see it live? Even live, I have my TV up here. I got my 2 monitors side by side, so I had WrestleMania on the left monitor. I had my social media over here, and then I was gaming up here, and I was kind of like looking over here a little bit. But then I found myself looking more and having to like pause a game, or if I was actually in a live game, I was like, sorry, guys, got to drop for a minute. Because it was actually not so bad after all. But again, IShowSpeed, I thought, did a pretty good job. And that sets up a good match possibility for him and Logan. So that'll be good for a one-off. Is iShow supposed to be like a regular all of a sudden now? I mean, is this... I thought I heard somewhere that he was actually training to join the roster. Not sure about that. Primetime, the page pop-up was a moment that was ruined by the WWE. It won't be a memorable moment, really, because it was an advertised moment, which they never should have advertised. It would have stolen night one. Instead, it was just a part of night one. Yeah, and it's not her fault. It's them not knowing how to do their damn job. If you would have let Nikki and Brie walk out on that stage together, and Nikki having the crutch there. Now, again, we've seen people faking injuries a lot lately. So we'd be in our mind thinking, oh, yeah. She's just going to hobble down to ringside, and then she's going to take that cane and crown somebody with it, which she ended up doing that anyway. And then they could have gone into the whole shtick. Hey, I can't go. I tried to make it happen, guys, but I did make a phone call, and then they could have done their little split. And then Paige's music hits, and that place would have exploded. They popped, but they would have exploded. You had no reason to announce Paige in advance. And, oh, we signed Paige, and she's officially back in the WWE, and will be appearing in the tag match. Wow. Tell me how the movie ends again. I'm just saying, that was so poorly done. That just, it makes me shake my head in disgust, in utter disgust. Poor Cody got the punt. All right, yeah. I saw the clip for Stevie Richards' show saying he has that what went wrong, and it showed Cody with the black eye and all that swollen clothes, and it's like, Cody got kicked for real. What went wrong? What went wrong? He didn't move his head. He got kicked in the head. That's what went wrong. They took the punt away from Randy for so long he was rusty. Oh, man. That was a pretty brutal shot, though. He definitely caught it. The RKO to Pat McAfee. Again, I called that one in advance. Yeah, Natty and Shayna, that match was solid. It was so good. So if you guys haven't checked that out from, well, can't think of the name of the company now. All right, anyway. The link is on Twitter. Or just put in Shayna versus Natty Bloodsport. There you go. The only match I didn't like was the Punk versus Roman, says Judd. Judd, what? What? I don't even know which one to go with on this. Yeah. No, that's really not the right one, but that's like the best match of the entire two nights. Why did you not like about it? You just not like the outcome? Are you a Punk guy and your guy lost? Or, I mean, the match was amazing. Primetime also enjoying heels. I think a lot of people enjoyed heels. That's why I'm surprised to find out that it was canceled. Walter Johnson. Yeah, again, I don't think Brock is retired, but it sets it up really nicely. I can see where it's going to go. I want my favor. Heyman's going to say, let me see what happens. I'll call him and talk to him. Well, you better talk to him, and you better get him to understand. And then he says, no, he doesn't want to come out of retirement. And then he starts brutalizing Heyman and using his friend to get him to come back out. Sean is in the house. Sean, I think I covered everything already on why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm just catching up on comments here. So that's the answer to your question on what's happening on Tuesday. Just if you don't have a Twitch account, just go ahead and set one up. It's easy enough. I may take clips of it. You know, if something meaningful happens, I may copy that and maybe bring it in, import it into a Saturday show or something like that. I haven't really thought about that part. But one day a week ain't going to break nobody. And that's not to say I won't be doing other house shows on YouTube. I'm just saying Tuesdays, my plan is to do a house show on Tuesday nights that will be on Twitch. Doesn't mean I might not do a house show on a Wednesday as well, or a Thursday, or something else. That's all a possibility. Primetime, you stream on Twitch as well. Cool. Well, if you don't already have me, lock me in over there so that you'll know. And I'm going to try and stick to a time schedule, at least for the early on portion, because I know the reason I stop with Twitch is it's a lot different vibe. And I'm already a little bit more conscious of, like, the commercial spots. If YouTube is giving me shit about a commercial spot I've run at least 50 times with no problem, I'm not sure how Twitch is going to feel about it. But this just gives me two different outlets in case one of them goes belly up on me. I have something as a backup. You didn't like the ending, really? I thought the ending was the best part. When Punk came in for the spear, I was like, oh, come on. I'm supposed to believe this flyweight is going to spear Roman Reigns into a defeat? And then he hit Roman, and Roman didn't move. And I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. And then turned it into a guillotine, and then set it up, and then finished him off. And, yeah, I thought that was a good finish. Primetime also got the Twitch account. Cool. Yeah, the Pacer point guard. I forget his name. Seems like cool enough, dude. He's definitely a wrestling fan, so you get props for that. Dookie Wilco's in the house. How you doing, sir? Smooth Sports Gaming. It was like 3 minutes long. Yeah, no, it went almost 5 is what they were saying. But again, we've seen a lot of Brock matches, winning and losing, that didn't go very long, which is realistic. I mean, you know, in the UFC, and that was legit. His fights didn't last that long. If you get into a fight with Brock Lesnar, do you think it's going to go long? No. It's going to be over pretty quickly. So in that scenario, I'm okay with it. You know what? Mike Tyson was always the most anticipated match of the night, too. And you paid all that money to watch it, and you knew it was only going to last about 60 seconds, if you're lucky. And that's the way it always went down in the beginning. First round knockout. First round knockout. Nobody ever sat there and said, hey, I paid for a boxing match. He knocked him out one. You paid expecting a 1 minute knockout. Me and my friends would get together to watch his fights. And the only way we could bet is we'd put like $5 in a pool, and then we'd take a deck of cards, and everybody drew a card. And whoever's card was closest to the round it ended in would win the pot. Because we all wanted round 1. So if you drew a 5, yeah, you're probably not getting nothing. You drew a 10, you're definitely not getting nothing. There were no ones. Well, I take it back. I think we left the jokers in. Yeah, so if you pulled the Joker, then you'd have a number 1 card. And I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think we all walked away with our money after Tokyo because we all picked Tyson to win over Buster Douglas, and that didn't happen. But yeah, there are times with certain fighters that you don't anticipate it being a long fight. And that's just, you're there for the wreckage. You're there to see the destructive force that this guy brings. And that's a Brock Lesnar match. I can appreciate you wanted it to go longer. Just go. They say Brock, sorry. Maybe he's going to be on Raw, so we may see a specialty with Heyman. Why would he be on Raw? I'd be a little surprised to see him on Raw, to be honest with you. I would think at this point you play it off. He's in Minnesota. He's done. I can see Gunther coming out. Maybe Heyman's cutting a promo for something else. The fact that Braun Breaker's back now, which, we didn't even talk about that. About the whole Seth Rollins Gunther outcome. The fact that Braun, there was a surprise. Almost a disappointing surprise because clearly he was cleared for physical confrontation. And I know it might not have been until maybe days before Mania, but it just sucks that he could not have been in the role he was supposed to be in. But it was good that at least we did see him there. He did, and that 75-yard run to get that spear in, God bless you. That's a lot of sprinting is all I'm going to say. It makes the Ultimate Warrior pale in comparison. But, yeah, I could see Paul Heyman coming out here to just talk some shit about whatever he's advocating for today. And then all of a sudden the ring general comes down and says, you still owe me a favor. Seeing Austin back against Kevin Owens, that's a couple of years ago, isn't it? But, yeah, that was a good spot as well, no doubt. Infrared TV, my brother from another mother. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, we were talking about that, man. Jelly Roll. Somebody finally legitimately breaks a fucking table the right way, man. He crushed that bitch. And that's after losing the weight. Blaze Radio is in the house. Thank God you're here to save the business. Shout out to my boy Blaze. He really helped me out a lot yesterday because you guys know that I've got my 2K frustrations. I got my main account where I can't do anything with community creations, but I can load logos from my computer to my account, and I can get those logos. I just can't like share them or anything from that account. I can't save them to community creations in any way. Then I have my other account, which is a secondary account, which has no email or anything tied to it because I'm not paying for another PlayStation Network membership. Therefore, I have no way of connecting it to 2K for me to upload images to that account. So anyway, I sent a bunch of images to my boy McCoy, and he was kind enough to do me a solid and upload them on my behalf so I could go get them on my other account and make my arenas so that we can continue doing these house shows and things like that, and they'll look the same as I want them to look. So thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Enjoyed both nights of Mania. Not perfect by all means, and stayed away from socials and drew my own conclusions. Okay, well, you're here now, and the poll is shifting slightly now. We're at 67% saying positive things. It was 83 earlier. So a few people have come in the back door there saying, eh. What was your highlight, Blaze? What was your highlight for both nights? If you had to pick one moment, what was it for you? As I'm saying that, I'm asking myself the same question. For me, it's going to end up being the Brock. That was the one. Like I said, it hit me. It was emotional. You had me 100% believing it was real. And maybe it is real still. I mean, we don't know that it's a setup, but it's starting to, the more I think about it and the fact that Gunther is owed a favor, I can see it. And is SummerSlam, was it not in Minnesota? Is that not the deal? Minnesota's hosting SummerSlam, which is, of course, Brock's hometown or state. And by the way, something I'm glad I just thought of, and I thought about it yesterday, and I'll say it again. And I may be wrong on this, and if I am, I'm only wrong on it for one reason, but we'll check. As far as I'm concerned, this ends WrestleMania. Okay? And I'll tell you why. What does every WrestleMania for 42 years have in common? And I will give you an easy hint. If you go back to 1985, it was the first thing that happens. And it's been the first thing that happens every year since, with possibly one exception. I'd actually have to go back and check. The national anthem. You think they're going to do the United States national anthem in Saudi? And imagine if they do the Saudi national anthem to kick off WrestleMania. Piss on that. So as far as I'm concerned, This is it. It dies. Once you let Saudi get control of it, I'm out. Doesn't mean I won't watch it. It's just not WrestleMania anymore. It's nothing to do with WWF, WWE. That whole lineage ended last night. Now, the Canada, I still think they did both anthems, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure they started out with the American anthem and did the Canadian anthem. One of you will know the answer and put it up here in the chat, I am sure. Night one was ghastly, says Smooth. It wasn't ghastly. It wasn't as good. And again, they set such a low bar. I mean, it wasn't hard to have a decent show when expectations were so damn low. Yeah, Sean, as long as you got Twitch, you don't need, to worry about ads and stuff. I'm doing a live stream, and I don't get paid there either, so there's no ads involved. Yeah, dude, I was talking about the whole Page thing. In what world did anyone in the WWE think, okay, quick, get this out to social media? No, you fucking hide that shit. The way you did with the Hardy Boys. When you brought them back at WrestleMania and gave them the tag team titles that night. You hid them. You put them under black hoods. Even the wrestlers didn't know for sure they were there. I just, man, it kills me that she should have had this mega pop. And she got a pop, but not the one she would have had if you wouldn't have opened y'all's mouths and blown it. Because here's the thing. WWE really hasn't delivered on much. They had the whole Chris Jericho fiasco that never actually happened, even though you kind of told people it was going to happen. So again, expectations were down low. If all of a sudden you'd have heard that little squealing sound effect of her opening music and the purple would have taken over the stage, people would have lost their minds. But they didn't want that to happen, of course. Might have to reimburse somebody for a spilled beer. Smooth doesn't like the Braun. Well, let's put it this way. If you're in the arena, yeah, that's like 75 yards to get down the ramp, so they're all going to know what's happening before the rest of us. But by watching it on TV, we only see him coming out of nowhere at the last second, and who the fuck was expecting to see him at all? So that was for me, that was good. I thought that was one of the good spots there, and that's the same thing Paige should have had, that I had no expectation of seeing you tonight. And that's exactly the same thing she should have gotten. Yeah, Gunther is almost definitely, Miracle and I are on the same page, is going to goat Lesnar out of retirement. There was nothing official about the retirement other than him putting stuff down. I can see Gunther calling him a bitch for the next, 2 months. Sean says, do I like coffee? I do like coffee. Do you grow coffee? Smooth like squash matches. Don't get too many of those anymore, do we? I just think it was the wrong time with this WrestleMania already being scrutinized that they should. Dude, I'm telling you. Again, it depends the who. But in this case, you're talking about these two monsters. How long would a legit fight with these two people last? 5 minutes if you're lucky. Probably not. And the bigger picture, and you keep losing focus on this. If the matches go longer, they don't have enough time for the commercials. They've got to feed families. They undersold by 23,000 tickets from last year. That's a lot of food they're not going to eat now. It's been said that we will not know the gate. It's funny. We always knew the gate in the past, right? Just not the bad year. That we won't know the gate possibly till the next quarter earnings. That'll give them plenty of time to doctor it up and try to make it look as appealing as possible. And the fact that poor Cena has to go out there and serve shit burgers to the fans. This is the first time we've ever been on ESPN.
C major.
That ain't it. WrestleMania brought to you by TKO. I mean, damn, why you do that to the man? Why you make him have to go out there and you know they're going to boo his ass out the building? Danhausen, we were talking about it, got sidetracked. Comes out with the team of midgets and this golf cart thing, whatever it's supposed to be. He's making all the shit work. Gets down into the ring and ruins Miz's moment. His WrestleMania moment, if you will. And there's the moment where the midgets get Miz down, and then Danhausen looks at him and goes, "Dog pile!" And I just started losing it, man. Dog pile. And then the midgets all kick his ass and carry him out. Like back in the Undertaker days with Stephanie on the cross. Just carrying the Miz down the ramp. And then, of course, there's the whole "you can't see me" thing where the poof goes up and then you can still see him, so he puts the cape over him and runs and hides under the ring. That was good shit. That again, if you're going to do comedy, that's the way to do it. And someone else had said it. I don't know who. I want to give credit. I just don't know who it was. It's only a matter of time before the tag team champions are Truthhausen. Truthhausen has to happen. Can you imagine these two guys as the tag team champions? Oh, I am so there for that. Make it a real thing. Roman Punk match was amazing regardless of the outcome. I think it was amazing because of the outcome. I don't know that the Brock match, the match I don't know that I was surprised by, but yeah, putting the gear down in the ring, that was a friggin' surprise. And these are all night 2 things, so yeah, clearly night 2 was the standout. I feel like Danhausen, that should have happened on night 1. And Blaze brings up a good point. Got everything I wanted in a wrestling show: entertainment, amusement, and surprise. And it's all there. Again, I in my mind, I kind of thought they'll find a way to pull it out. It's Mania. And they kind of did. You know, again, night 1, glorified Monday Night Raw. And the thing I don't get, running all these commercials, I don't know about you guys. I ended up getting Hulu because there was a free subscription 1-month trial, so I got that. And now I'm going to cancel it, actually. I got to remember to do that as soon as we get off of here, just because I don't want to forget later and get billed for it. So I had access to watch the shows without having to worry about buffering and stuff that I would normally have to deal with if I was side-loading programs to watch it with. Anyway, that all said, I was expecting that they're going to find a way to pull this thing out, because they always seem to. And then night 1, I thought it was okay. You know, I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was okay. Night 2, much better. So as an overall event, I don't know. I would say I land somewhere in the 7 out of 10 category. If I'm combining the entire weekend into one event, probably 7 out of 10. I think that's about fair. But what I was mentioning separately on the commercial thing, now, again, I'm watching this on Hulu. There were some commercial spots, but a lot of it was just a screen saying commercial break with a counter. Now, I prefer that, to be honest with you. But what are these people paying for? If somebody paid for a commercial spot and I'm not seeing it or having the ability to see it, It just seems weird to me. So you're taking all this time away from the talent to show me a screen saying there's a commercial that you're not able to see. And a lot of people have been complaining about this same thing, the screen, because they play this friggin' elevator music that'll put you to sleep very quickly. I need to get that song on my playlist for nights where I'm having trouble. Miracle, I don't think it's going to be on the shelf for very long at all. Maybe a week, 2 at the most. And maybe not. Might start off tonight. I think this is going to be something that is going to be dragged along, that Paul Heyman's life is going to be a living hell while Gunther just keeps targeting him and anyone that's associated with him until he gets Brock to come out of retirement. I can see us shooting an angle over on the farm, him coming after Brock on his farmland. They didn't do the American anthem on 6 or 18. Where was 18? Was that another Canada? Which one was 18? I'm drawing a blank on which one 18 was. And did they do any anthem? Well, then again, they didn't do them on stream, but I wonder if they did them prior to going live. I would be surprised. I mean, in Canada, I would see them doing both, the same they do for hockey games. And Canada's still kind of like a sister country here anyway, so it's not like they're the evil empire or the enemy. Oh, let's see. Smooth says, I really like Oba, so I'd say him winning was the highlight for me. He's basically Brock with better mic skills, voice. You know what? I'm not going to agree with you on the mic skills, because when Brock went babyface without Heyman, he was good. When he was just cutting up being a country boy, it was good. They just didn't give him enough chance to do that and be that guy. He was more the, silent monster, and he was Frankenstein. But Oba is the newer, younger, stronger version of him, and he passed the torch beautifully. Infrared, that's a really good point, man. You got too many people working backstage that talk to these crappy dirt sheet people back when the Hardys came back at Mania. But at the same time, they kept the Hardys out of the building. They didn't get in the building until about 15 minutes before their bell. And then they were under cloaks. They were escorted in. There's video of the whole thing and how they brought them in through the limos, and they had little moving tents. There were people holding these sheets over them. I've got a feeling, well, let's put it this way. They announced Paige days in advance, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I don't know, man. It just frustrates me. That was such an easy slam dunk, and they friggin' missed. When I was coaching basketball, the guy that I learned so much from, one time we're doing a practice with his team. And he said to his players, when it comes to shooting a game of basketball, whether it's free throw shooting, three-point shooting, or layups, which one do you think has the worst make percentage? And to our surprise, mine included, it's layups. Now, free throw shooting, you only get, as a player, you might only get 2 to 6 attempts at the free throw line. You may get no shots at the three-point line. Or if you're a three-point shooter, you might get 2 or 3. But layups had the highest number of misses, percentage-wise. And he says, you know why that is? Because of the amount of pressure you have on yourself, because it's an automatic layup. You're supposed to make it without missing, without exception. That's the easiest shot in the world. And as you're getting ready to take the shot, you feel all that pressure coming down on. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if they didn't, they do now. But from that conversation on, every game after that, both teams, I would watch. And I would see people freak out on the finish of a layup. things that I didn't necessarily notice in the past, I was noticing because it's a layup. You can't mess this up. And here's a WWE missing a fucking layup. Easy layup. It's like they can't help themselves. Hey, we got this big surprise from Mania. Oh, hold on. I got a plan to fuck that up. Give me a minute. Did someone leak it or did they post it? I was under the impression that they posted it themselves. But even then, that's still on them. Signing her to a contract should have happened in a hotel someplace. She should not have gone to Connecticut. She should not have gone to Vegas or wherever it was they signed the damn contract. She should have been in a hotel room somewhere. She has a house in the States, I'm sure. Wherever that is, we'll go to your house. Unless it's someone in the executive level, in which case find out who that asshole is and make sure they don't ever have any ability to do that shit again. But it just ruined it. It ruined the surprise. Well, they did end up advertising it. Maybe somebody else first got it out. I don't know. I thought I heard about it through WWE. And there was no surprise that that's what was happening. But it is what it is right now. And that's on WWE. They should be able to keep something like that under wraps better. I mean, not for anything. And Paige is another one. Give that girl a sandwich. She looks so underweight. I mean, really skinny, like unhealthy, like Ariana Grande skinny. Lay says, you got me there. I'm about to go donate my life savings to TKO. Well, slow down, buddy. Don't do that. Give them to me. No. Let's see. You can't have Gunther terrorizing Heyman with Braun back in the picture. Well, I did think about that as well. Braun made an appearance. Now, we don't know that he's clear. I mean, he may have been cleared just to do that or something to that effect. Or maybe, I don't know. We'll have to figure out what happens. I still find, I can't imagine the fact that he owes him a favor is enough reason that Brock's going to come out of retirement. There has to be some kind of, if you don't, then I'm going to do this. And the only person he could really do anything to that would emotionally affect Brock into wanting to come back and stand up is if his 70-year-old manager is being brutalized by this bully because he's not there to protect him. Oh, they were both in Canada. Man, I don't remember 18 being in Canada for some reason. I was thinking that was one of the Texas ones, but okay. Oba's definitely better on the mic. Again, when Brock was given the mic and able to be himself, I thought he was really good. But Oba's done well. I'll say that. He's done well with the mic. And he is very early on in his career. Yeah, the cowboy version of Brock Lesnar was that was a good days, man. That was him at his best. He was very comfortable, very natural, and it came across well. It did. Okay, the contract was signed at WrestleCon. Holy shit, who would possibly find out about that? I'm willing to bet she had a hotel room. And here's an idea. At 6 a.m., before all the creepos start coming out into the lobbies, have somebody in a business suit, preferably, with an attaché case, go to the room. Not wearing WWE logos on their shit. Sign these papers, please. Thank you very much. We'll see you at Mania. Done. Would they do it at the friggin' signing table? Might as well. Probably did. I just don't know how you can fuck things up that bad. Never underestimate the ability of the WWE, though, to fuck up a good plan. All right, that all said, there is one other thing to touch on right here tonight. Fair warning, if you have not seen last Saturday's programs, you may want to tune out now. Otherwise, there are going to be spoilers because I've got some stuff I would like to share with you guys. So, we've talked about the fact that we used to have cutscenes and things that could really make the shows better, and they took it away from us. And then I started doing some more thinking. I'm seeing all this stuff that's now available to us in forms of different AI generators and things of that nature. And I'm like, I wonder if. So we've been running, in particular, this story with the Midnight Express, Jim Cornette, over on the 605 show, which is really because of you guys. That whole thing was never a plan. People were like, the Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton teams, like, I like Stan Lane better. And a few people said the same thing about that. When's Stan Lane going to come in and all that? I was like, okay, they don't want Dennis in there. So I wrote him off, and kind of weirdly after that, like 2 weeks later, he passed away in real life, which made me feel kind of, I don't know, felt weird about that. Made me feel some kind of way. But anyway, so Dennis gets written off, having his career ended at the hands of what turned out to be Stan Lane. And that brings us to the modern day Midnight Express. And then somebody a couple weeks ago got their hands on Cornette in the parking lot. We never see who it is. And then later we see video surface of this guy taking Cornette up into the upper rafters of a warehouse and piling him through 8 stacked tables, sending him to the hospital where he remained unconscious. And last week was the first chance we had to see something that looked a little bit different. I want to show you what goes into making that all happen. So bear with me.
While I whip this out.
Okay, so first thing I did is I got me a picture of Cornette, and that's the picture that I used. Hold on a minute. So, there you go. That's the picture that I used. And I put it in there with certain instructions that he's waking up in a hospital bed. I described, first, I'm going out of order. First, I actually just typed in all the commands. So I said, we got a guy who's in his early 40s, has a boyish-looking face. His hair is parted on the sides. It's a short haircut. He's waking up in a hospital room. Not sure how he got there. He looks around, then sees someone at the foot of his bed, and his eyes open wide in shock. And that gave me this. And I was like, I can't really use that, but I liked everything about it, except that's not Jim Cornette. And I don't even know how I'd pass that off as Jim Cornette. So then I kept that, and then I added the Cornette picture. And that gave me this.
Where am I? Who are you?
And none of the words were supposed to be in there.
That doesn't matter. We need to talk.
Now, that was closer to what I wanted. I really liked the facial expressions here. And it looks enough like Cornette. I think y'all would have figured it out. I mean, I would have also, layered in the storyline part of it. But this was exactly what I was looking for, but I wanted it to fit the video game. So now I take this video, I enter it with the command of, hey, it has to be a cutscene that'll match a video game. And then we got this. Which is what we went with. The only difference really is you didn't get that look of shock on his face that I liked. Okay, you didn't get that. But otherwise, it's like, damn, well, there's no question it's Jim Cornette waking up in a hospital bed. And that's what took place on Saturday. And there's some more stuff coming next week. So that all said, I went to a place, different sites. First I did a lot of checking on YouTube to see what are the best ones and what kind of stuff can they generate. Because you always want to give this stuff some time to percolate so that they work the kinks out and you can get better stuff out of there. Most of them are going to average 8 seconds to 15 seconds in maximum length. And that's, of course, going to change over time. It always does with technology. There's a couple out there already that can go minutes long. That all said, it comes at a cost. And the reason I am sharing all of this with you guys, I also tried to make an opener for like a news program like Mean Gene's News. And then when I put in like Demolition, Hulk Hogan, they gave me this shit. And I was like, nope, that ain't going to work. So there's that. And there's a couple of different sites out there that I can definitely make some decent stuff through. One of them in particular is called Top View. And hold on a second here. We're going to whip that out one more time.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
So Top View is the one that has access to the most and the highest quality AI tools. And they have an annual fee of $192. Now, if I was still bringing in the money I was making with Disney and even my last company and all that, I'd just drop the money and get it and mess with it. Just to get those videos that I showed you, that cost me $15. And that's it. I'm done for the month. All my points are gone just making that. Even though it was one video, I had to, 3 or 4 different times put commands in. I take it back. There's that, and there's a little bit extra that you'll see coming up Saturday when we go to the Omni at 12 noon. So you'll see that there. But after that, I'm all out of AI. So, completely up to you guys as the nation. If you want to see more of that kind of stuff worked in so that we can do a better job of storytelling, and if you want to contribute to the cause, once I hit $192, I'll stop and I'll tell everybody, hang up, we got it. There's a link down below in the description box to the PayPal account that you can donate to if you want to. If you don't, that's fine too. There's other ways we can go about doing it. It just won't be as good as what we've seen here. There's a lot of other stuff. I've got these ideas on how we can bring these things to another level, but we're not going to get it with 2K. They're just not going to give us the kind of tools to work with that we've had in the past, which is a sad thing. This is stuff that we used to have access to, and they've taken it away. So anyway, that's all I got on that. I just wanted to share that with you, show you what went into the whole making of those scenes and what it costs. And yeah, that's where we're at with that. So between the WrestleMania recap and the Nation update, that's all I got for right now. Like I said, at 5 o'clock, we're going to be back doing the Monday Night Wars thing, and it'll be Nitro this time around. Let me see any last-minute comments here. She did have a hotel room because she canceled a photo op hours before her appearance at Mania. She did have a hotel room because she canceled a photo op hours before. So we're thinking what? That the canceling the photo op thing made everyone think? No, because this was announced not hours before. This was announced days before. I heard that, I want to say Thursday is when I heard about it. I don't know if Blaze, I don't know if you're still here right now, but Blaze is the one that posted it. And I'm pretty sure it was like a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. All right, Smooth, man. We'll catch up with you soon, buddy. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. So I feel like it wasn't the day of or anything like that. I think she had, the news got out much sooner than that. Way too soon. End of the day, it never should have got out, period. They should have worked around whatever schedule they had to work around to keep it a freaking secret. But they can't do that shit. They ain't good at what they do. They used to be good at what they do. They used to be the best at what they do. But that was then, this is now. All right, I'll be back at 5 o'clock, like I said, with the Monday Night Wars. In the meantime, remember...
Bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
Think it'll work?
It would take a miracle.
Bye-bye.